Good evening, all, and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's Monday night, which means you have switched on to us playing Vaesen, Mythic Britain and Ireland, which we're very much enjoying. Below the stream, there are links to our YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, our social media, our Discord, which you should join and come and chat with us and the other lovely people involved in the channel, and also our Patreon. So if you enjoy what we do, you can support us there. Other things that we do on the channel: on a Wednesday night, we have Simba Room, and on one weekend day a month, we have a one-shot adventure. Different systems, different GMs, different players. This month's one is going to be a Call of Cthulhu game, which we're playing on the 19th of Feb, and will be run by our very own Sam, who will be on screen soon. In fact, immediately, because we'll do recaps for last week, and the first person on is Sam, who plays Magnus Huxley. Hi, Sam.
God, it's almost like you planned it, Jonny.
I know, almost, but definitely not. Yeah, do you want to say any more about the game, Sam? Do you want to do any promo?
We'll give a little bit of teaser. I don't know there's much to say other than, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. We're going to be descending into the dark depths under the ocean, and there might be some horrible things to keep you there. We'll have to find out. So I'm looking forward to it.
Playing. Yeah, it's really great.
I posted in the Discord about how I creep myself out with it, so now I can't think about it too much, because then I start to just lay awake at night and not be able to sleep, just from my own head, which is a unique experience for me. So
it's a skill.
Yeah.
Cool. So talk us through the beginning of last week's session, please, Sam.
Yeah. So Hux and Sister Constance had gone over to the far side of town to investigate to find out what they're basically going to find there, really. And when they were there, they spotted an old mill. Which could have been where this woman we were trying to find, Gladys Pugh, was hiding out. Looked like the sort of place she would. So I'd gone round the side, had a look, couldn't find any evidence of anyone there. And then I basically found that the door was had wooden planks across it, but they were nailed in such a way that they weren't actually stopping entry. So I went in there and then invited Constance after me after the coast seemed to be clear, and we had a bit of a look around. And in the main room, it was kind of more or less empty, other than a bed right in the middle of it. The bed was fairly nondescript, looked used. It was kind of rough, but it was human-sized, and there wasn't really anything else more to find on it. We didn't find anything else on that level, and Hux got a bit annoyed and kicked the bed because he hadn't been having a very good day before that point. But then Constance found there was actually a kind of stairs down to a lower area. And below, there wasn't loads to find, but there was a few more clues. So there was a big rack of dresses along the sort of lines, I think, as the descriptions we've had for Gladys Pugh, perhaps. Not super nice, but also, fairly nice dresses, sort of thing you'd wear around town, certainly. And so there was some muckying up on them as well, like people actually, this lady had been walking around on them. So I think that was kind of enough for us to conclude that she had been staying there, but we didn't really find a lot else at that place. And then we head back across town, hoping to catch up with the others and find out what was going on.
So you all met up back at the pub, and then discussed a little, and then headed down the road with your plan to sort of see, as the night was drawing in, whether you could spot the lights that you'd previously seen on the moors. Let's bring on Justin, who plays Gale, Mosling Forcemark. Hi, Justin. I can't hear you.
How's it going?
Better now. Much better now. I can hear you. So when you helped the group with your map skills, find the point where you expected to see the lights, and then you mysteriously decided to head off.
Not been feeling very well recently. Headed back to the house with Adam, make sure Adam gets looked after, and then really head off because of a realization that the house was empty, and this was the best chance to search around for anything untoward, just in case maybe our benefactor is actually the person behind it all. Classic Scooby-Doo ruse, So, but no, unfortunately, searching around the house, there was nothing weird to be found apart from the usual weird occulty things that we've already seen in Lady Spencer's house, so with fairies and the like. Most thankfully, nobody caught Mosling rooting around in Spencer's room, because I don't know how I ever would have recovered from that. Yeah, and then I sent the carriage back to the gang who were out on the moors.
Yeah, thank you. So let's bring on Steve, who plays Henry Bonneville. Hey, Steve.
Hello.
Tell us about what happened.
Right. Yeah. So we were looking for the signs, the floating lights that we'd spotted the previous evening. Lady Spence was with us, so we spotted them this time. They were closer to the 3 stone circles, so we headed over there down the road and then started cutting across towards them. Managed to stay reasonably quiet. We were also looking around for signs of Gladys Pugh as well, because we thought that she might well be following Lady Spence. No sign of Gladys, but we did manage to get fairly close to these glowing orbs of light. They looked like they were dancing. There was about 10 of them, and they were sort of dancing almost. I think you described it as a bit like a Kaylee in certain aspects, sort of rotating around each other, sort of swapping partners, that sort of thing. So they did that for a while. We weren't quite sure what to do, but Lady Spence decided it was probably best if we just observed them for a bit. At that point, a little later on, I think Constance started praying, and we all failed stealth rolls at that point, and the orbs detected our presence. There was a brief peal of childlike laughter, and the orbs disappeared. So we went across the marshy ground, the boggy ground, to have a further investigation of where they were, and found some small footprints that might have sort of been along the tracks of where they've been dancing, sort of. They weren't really entirely human. The toes were rather too long, almost like sort of rabbit paws. And at that point, we decided probably that we'd had enough. It was getting rather dark, and probably time to return home and get some rest and do some research.
Great, thank you. So let's bring on Inga, who plays Constance. Hey, Inga. So you headed back to the house in the carriage that Mosling had very kindly and considerately sent back for the group. And you did a little research using the short list of books, I think, that Lady Spence had suggested.
Yeah, and I think she sort of reshuffled them a little bit quickly before you're given what we'd seen. And yeah, it was fairly fruitful. We found a kind of fairy tale and another record. I think Mosling found in some of the old society records that he brought with him some info on a previous investigation, which basically led us to conclude that the Vaesen we'd seen were pixies. And the kind of other encounter that we'd heard about was about a journey, that someone had taken that should have taken about an hour on a nice sunny day, but by the time they arrived, seemingly with just an hour having passed, it's like they'd gone through like heavy rain and it was nightfall by that point. And you can generally learn that pixies are very kind of pranking kind of creatures, and there's all sorts of mischief that tends to happen around them. I think the general caution was, they're not too malicious per se, but you'll want to be careful around them because of all these sort of things that happen that can sometimes end up a bit dangerous. So we kind of figured, it might explain the things that we've heard about on the road, like the carts wheels coming off, or wondered whether maybe they'd ventured into town, and that might be why Dan's journey has been so disrupted, if it was similar to that other kind of journey. But essentially we kind of concluded that, in the morning we'll kind of pick up and have a look for some rituals to do some sort of pixie pest control, and mostly kind of got ready for bed. Constance prayed with Mosling for a bit to help him, and he healed the condition, and Bonneville went up to kind of check in on Magnus, checked in on Hux, and they had a bit of a chat and heart to heart, and they rested for the evening, and figured we've got a few threads to pick up the next day.
And finally, let's bring on John, who plays B. Talk to us about the morning, John.
So in the morning, I believe we were all sitting down for breakfast or had just had breakfast when there was a knock on the door and Lady Spence went to answer it herself. And all we heard was her go, "Gladys Pugh, I presume." So presumably Gladys Pugh's at the door.
So you hear the door close, and you hear nothing more. Nobody wanders back in. You presume maybe Lady Spencer's gone outside.
I feel like the moment I heard Gladys Pugh, I would have immediately stepped up and rushed towards the door.
Okay.
And
In that
presumably
case, you find it just closing.
Yeah.
Behind them.
I will actively open the door behind them. I'm kind of in the position where I'm kind of worried Gladys Pugh is dangerous / a mystical being, so I want to make sure Lady Spence is safe.
Okay. You fling the door open, and Lady Spence's back is to you, and in front of her you see somebody who matches the description that you've been given previously for Gladys Pugh.
Okay. If it's a human, I significantly calm.
Yeah, she also, if you're sort of looking at her body language, which I imagine Hux is probably reasonably good at, she is certainly not aggressive, and if anything, you would say that she looks a little afraid.
Okay, I will immediately.
But the conversation stops as the door opens, so that you don't hear anything that they're talking about.
Yeah. I'll immediately relax and kind of back off a bit and say, "Sorry, I just wanted to make sure you were safe and all that."
Oh, quite all right, Mr. Huxley. Thank you for your concern. I'm attempting to get to the bottom of why this Ms. Pugh has been following me around, it seems, she says, and kind of turns back to face her, and you assume give her some kind of glowering look.
Yeah, cool. I will hover momentarily, kind of waiting for indication whether she wants me to leave or not.
You hear Gladys say, well, there's a matter I wish to discuss with you, ma'am. I've been sort of waiting for the right moment. I believe that you deal with. She kind of peers round and still sees you standing there. And can you make me can you just make me, while you're standing there, if you're sort of trying to listen, if she's being quiet, which you probably would do if you're standing there, I imagine.
Yeah.
Could you make I suppose it'd be a vigilance roll, actually.
Sure.
I think.
Although, to be fair, at the point she's obviously uncomfortable and trying to say something to Lady Spencer, not a danger, I probably would also be heading in. But I'll make a vigilance roll as I'm kind of turning around to leave her to it. Which I make 1 success.
Okay. You hear her say, supernatural?
Yeah, that's fine. I shut the door behind me and just let them have their conversation. I'm assuming they'll come in. I kind of presumably seeing other people there. I'm guessing at least some people chase. I'll go like
right behind the door.
Yeah, as like it's fine. She's she's human, and just wanted to talk to Lady Spence. She seemed apologetic, embarrassed almost. I give them a minute. I don't think she wanted to speak with all of us there.
Is there a nearby window or like a counterpane in the door or anything?
There isn't in the door. The room that you were in originally has kind of a bay window. So you could have even been looking out of the window the whole time if you want, rather than having gone to the door. But you can kind of... You probably can't see Lady Spence from there because she's back to the front door, but you could probably see sort of the back half of Gladys Pugh from that window and kind of have an idea of what's going on.
Okay. Is the bay window openable at all? Or is it one of those really noisy sash windows?
It probably would be especially it may not have been opened for a couple of months because it's cold. There's a good chance it'll make some noise if you try and open it.
That's a great image, isn't it?
Sounds like a stealth
conversation by the door.
In that case, I will just sort of stand there and continue to look out of it.
I definitely would have also got up to like following Hux, but I'm definitely not as fast. I'm getting away from that face. Mosling's pulling at the window.
Mosling Mosling has not got up from his chair in any of this at any point during this process.
But I mean, it sounds like Hux had quite a quick. By the time I think Constance gets the door, Hux has probably just come back in and sort of said, "Yeah, it seems to be okay. Yeah, but we'll probably just hang by the door, see if there's anything we can hear, or otherwise just wait for them to come back in."
Okay. Again, if you are attempting to hear, can you make a vigilance roll? Are you also staying and trying to listen, Hux? No, giving him some privacy.
I'll stay in the vicinity, but I'm not trying to listen.
Okay.
I think Mosling is trying to hear at the distinct disadvantage of being sat in the armchair, apparently not looking like he cares.
He's not going to hear from the armchair. I could. Unless B opens that window.
I'm attempting to listen through the presumably single pane of glass, and I hear nothing. I hear nothing.
One success.
Okay. So you don't get any specifics. You pick up on very similar stuff to Hux, which is that she sounds pretty scared or concerned for her safety or the safety of somebody else, perhaps. And that it seems to be something that she can't go to sort of normal channels about. You don't get the impression that she wishes anybody any harm, and certainly not Lady Spence or your group from what you can kind of glean from little snippets. But yeah. So after probably 5 minutes, the door opens again. Anybody who's if Hux is sort of standing there and Constance standing there, you see Lady Spence come in with Gladys sort of behind her. Same sort of body language, kind of almost scrunched in on herself, like a little, uncomfortable, uneasy. And she sort of directs her to the sitting room where you have been. And she says, "Well, I'm not sure how good you all are at multitasking, but perhaps we have another issue to be dealt with. I'm unsure of the urgency of this one, but perhaps Gladys here can explain the situation, and while you are researching the current issue, perhaps if you come across anything in the books that is relevant, we can relay it."
Of course, yes.
Miss Pugh. She points her to an armchair, which is kind of at the opposite side of the room to where you've come in. So she'll be facing the hallway, essentially. And she sits and kind of readjusts her dress and makes herself comfortable and says, shall I just start?
Why don't we introduce ourselves first and just explain who we are, and then maybe just don't have to role play it, but do that.
Also making sure
I'll
to
also
explain
gesture
the
for small
society,
tea.
the society we're part of, and that we are here for like supernaturally things. Probably I won't do that, but as long as someone does that.
Yeah, just gesture for small tea so she can feel comfortable and welcome.
Thank you. Right. Lady Spence says, "Miss Pugh, please, these are, you have explained to me perfectly. Just recount the same tale." "Yes, right. Well, I became involved with a person in a romantic sense, I suppose, and they gave me a gift in a small box, which I perhaps assumed was going to be some kind of jewelry or, well, yes, some kind of pleasant gift. In fact, it seems to have been something, well, not pleasant at all. And I've tried my damnedest to get rid of the thing, and it won't go. So I was attempting to speak to Lady Spence. Now, the thing about this thing is that it does seem to grant some kind of boon to whoever cares for it, and I seem to have the devil's luck, if you'll excuse my turn of phrase there. And I would wander into town and be hot on the heels of Lady Spence, but I never quite found the right time to speak. I'm making no sense. I'm incredibly sorry. Can you all make vigilance rolls? In fact, so Inga and Sam, you already passed. John, you already
I failed.
Okay.
1 success.
Okay.
Vigilance, 2 ticks. Vigilance is a logic skill, so that's 5 + 2. 2 successes.
Okay. Everyone that succeeded. There is a small table next to the seat that Gladys is sitting in for putting cups on and other such things. And on there is a small box that you don't remember seeing her pop down on that table.
But we haven't seen before, presumably?
It wasn't. Are you pretty sure it wasn't there before? And you're pretty
Okay.
sure that you didn't see her put it there, and she just said that she was gifted something in a small box by a previous romantic engagement.
Okay, interesting.
Sorry, just don't worry, dear. Just take it nice and slowly. You say you were given this item. Who was it that gave it to you?
A previous romantic entanglement, I suppose. I thought it would be a pleasant gift, some necklace or a bracelet, perhaps. I certainly didn't think it was an engagement ring, but something pleasant. And but in fact, it seems to have been some kind of
Was this somebody who gave this to you here in town, or was this in somewhere else and you've since travelled here to find Lady Spence?
No. This was in London, probably 3 months ago now. I haven't seen them since.
What was this man's name?
She gives a bit of a look and says, "It wasn't a man, sister."
Oh.
Yes. Anyway, the name is unimportant. The issue is that I am now, I believe, bound to this. And she kind of looks to the left a little and sees the box.
I see. Why has it been 3 months? Have you not looked for help before?
I have started to feel that perhaps I am not always in control anymore.
Go on.
Well, I've never been one for sleepwalking, but occasionally I've found myself elsewhere.
Is that how you came to be in this village?
No,
Or
no,
did you come here?
I came here seeking Lady Spence's help.
Ah, I see.
Where did you meet this ex-lover? Did you were you old friends, or was it a chance meeting?
Yes, a chance meeting.
Do you think perhaps that they sought you out to give you this gift?
I have grown to believe that may be the case, yes.
That's a shame.
I
Do you
don't
think that...
understand
Sorry.
why we're all skipping the obvious question. What is in that box?
Mm-hmm.
It's a box. It's a box. Surely the obvious question is what is in the box?
May we see the box? May I have the box?
I would not give you the box, but you understand why, I'm sure. I don't wish to. She picks it up and opens it, and you see in there a small, about this big, and it's like a shiny black bug that has some kind of tiny humanoid features. And it's kind of scurrying around, and then it looks up and goes, and she snaps the box shut.
Are you
Constance
sure you
throws
don't
a
want to...
holy water at it.
Are you sure you don't want to give us this box?
Can I have a reaction to try and stop this woman getting covered in holy water when I don't think it's necessarily the best time?
Unless Constance has holy water, like in a squirt gun that she conceals up.
I feel like there's time to
the
like go,
wrist
no,
Yeah.
Constance, not now.
Thing, like you know, it's going to take a second.
She
or
does
two.
have like little vial of it, but yeah, it's not going to be like a little like
Yeah.
it's not like a water gun. We need to take the cork off and whatever. So
On seeing you try and go for your holy water, I'll just put my hand on you for a moment and shake my head and go like, not now.
Are you sure you don't want to give us this box? Or do you feel like you can't give us this box?
I remember that I was given this box.
Mm-hmm. Do you want the box?
And I can now, as you, I think, have just seen, not rid myself of the box.
Even
if I don't really wish to. I think I could give the box, but I'm not sure what that would mean for the recipient.
what have you done? You say you tried to get rid of it before. What have you done to try and get rid of this item?
I have thrown it in the Thames. I have thrown it in a fire. I have buried it in the foundations of a building. It's always back with me in a number of hours.
You say it's unpleasant. What other than the obvious, this disgusting little creature, what is so unsettling about it that you want to get rid of it so badly?
Presumably that you keep losing yourself, I'm guessing. And that's only started since you have the box, right?
I have terrible nightmares. I am I'm a believer, Sister Constance, and I've been having visions of what I would describe as hell in my dreams.
Have you been to the church?
I was afraid.
I understand that, but the faith can help you through the fear, and on a more practical note, the church can help with banishing devils and such awful beings and creatures. I've seen it. Um, I do have some holy water here and a crucifix, which I may try to destroy this thing. This is not my area of expertise, but particularly, but I think it's worth trying. If you are happy for it to be destroyed, hopefully.
Yes, as much as I say, I think from my limited understanding, there may be benefits of this creature's proximity.
Yes, you mentioned a potential boon. Can you describe how that manifests? What do you think it is?
This is a thing of devilry. We should be very cautious about any boons it may offer.
Well, of course.
I agree. Fortune seems to be on my side, Mr. Bonneville, I suppose is what I would say. Positive coincidences. However, I was quite happy with my life beforehand, and I could do without these nightmares.
Has the box made you done anything to hurt anyone? Has it made you? Is it just impacted your nerves, or has it caused you to act in any way that might get you in trouble or might cause harm to others?
There are points in time that I don't properly remember, and I'm concerned with what those times may contain.
How often do you lose moments of time?
With increasing frequency.
And how long have you been in the village?
A week or so.
You spoke to anybody else in the village?
I had to buy some bread, and very few people. I've been trying to keep a low profile. Although somebody, I think, may have found out where I was staying.
That was us.
Well, is there cause for anybody to have known your name?
I'm not sure why.
We were given your name. I think we heard Lady Spence, welcome you to this just this morning as Gladys Pugh, if that is
Yes,
indeed
of
your
course.
name. We were told, we were given a description of you and given that name. Does that surprise you?
Yes, a little. Who gave my name?
I will immediately volunteer the Lucy Jenkins, the name Lucy Jenkins, and not my friend.
The name is she often found at the bar?
That's correct.
She holds court there.
Yes, I've seen her keeping an eye if ever we are around the same place together, but I wasn't aware that she knew my name, and I'm not sure how.
I think our best chance of getting to the bottom of this is by knowing more about the person or thing that gave this to you. Do you have any cause to believe that it may have been a supernatural being that gave this to you?
No, certainly not. No,
Just a normal person.
I believe
I think it. Who it is, I think, is important. Maybe to discover where this has come from, or what might cause this, if there's any reason behind it. But it might not be relevant for understanding how to destroy this thing, if that's the most appropriate course of action, which I believe it may be. But I think, due diligence means we ought to find out where this came from and make sure that nobody else is going to suffer a similar sort of problem. But are there any objections to me? I'm going to pull out the holy water again and my pointy crucifix. I want to try and
look to this view.
I want to check
Yeah,
water at this and try stabbing it.
I'll look at Miss Pugh and say, Miss Pugh, then you can't give it to us because that'll mean it's ours or whoever you've given it to. If I were to pick this up now and take it, do you know what happens?
I believe it would make its way back to me eventually, and I'm not sure
I see.
whether you would be safe in the meantime. I don't mean that as a threat, of course.
I understand. What I'm saying is right now, it's not in my possession if I take it from you. So now,
I don't believe so.
I think I can do this, and I pick it up. And presumably I'm okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I will, because I know Bonneville's got a thing. Before I hand it to Constance, I'll kind of gesture towards Henry and just kind of say, do you want to take this? Because you seem like you can do stuff with these things.
You're asking me if I want to take it.
Yeah. Oh shit. Well, it's not my own person. It's fine. I don't think I can give it to you.
Yeah.
Although that's hilarious. I'm not asking you the question. I'm just gesturing to you.
Sure. I might sort of reach out and pick it up, look over it, do the investigation thing, with a side note, if possible, of seeing whether there's any sort of.
I would also like to. I will touch your shoulder and say, "Be careful with that. God be with you," and give you a blessing, which will give you a +2 on a roll that you can do once in this session.
That's pretty cool.
If you would like to.
Are you opening the box while you're?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
I will tap Adam on the shoulder and say, "Go fetch my rifle, then go wait with James in the kitchen."
Things
Don't
are
do something
escalating.
safe. Grab the gun.
Blimey.
Get Mummy's gun. Obviously, I don't say it like that.
Yep, he runs off. Yeah, do you want to make a roll, Steve? For,
Sure.
Investigation, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you can, if you want, you can add another 2 dice. It lasts for the whole mystery, but you can only use it. I can only give it once per session, but now that you have it, it lasts for the whole mystery. So it's up to you when you want to use it. But
wow,
yeah.
okay,
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna say, if Henry is planning on opening the box, maybe save it for then. If you're not, then.
Well,
your choice now is in your hands. You've been blessed. On you go.
So what I will say is, if you're planning on opening the box, sort of as you're not doing it now, the roll will count anyway.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you won't roll again for opening and investigating inside. It's like a scene investigation.
Okay. Well, I've got 5 in logic and 3 in investigation, and I might as well use the 2 for the blessing. which is an insane number of dice, and obviously I'll still roll 0. I got 2 successes. Okay, that's not too bad. Out of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 successes out of 10 dice.
Okay. The box has whatsoever.
Sorry, I think I missed.
I think
Part of
that
that.
clipped a bit, Johnny.
Yeah.
No
Oh,
signs
hello.
of damage whatsoever. Hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're freezing a bit. No signs of damage whatsoever. We've got that. It's obviously this box having an effect.
Mosling,
Yes, nothing at all.
I'm happy to reiterate that, like, I am happy to take this off you if, you know, it may need some diligent study, and that's something that we're equipped to do, and might be easier for us to do that.
Yeah, but
Well,
this ain't
let's
gonna
try
remain.
destroying. Let's
Yeah,
try
destroying it
first.
first, but yeah, no, certainly.
I agree, but I think no matter what, it ain't going to remain in our possession very long. I'm
Well-
sorry to say, sister, I even suspect if we destroy it, it's just going to disappear and show up with her again soon. But we can have a go.
What if you destroy it, it just sets it free?
Well, I think it sounds like Gladys here has tried to destroy it by normal means. I think destroying it through through religious means, I don't see why that would release something like that. This is surely this got the devil will be destroyed by faith, by proper faith and religious endeavor. I wish to spite this thing.
Yeah,
Fair.
now she's not holding it
Was-
anymore. I'm not planning on stopping you.
Also, just double check. So you because you've got the sixth sense thing, right, Steve? So and you had extra successes. So did that mean was that like no sense of Vaesen on this? Then this didn't seem supernatural.
Did you want to use that, Steve?
If I could, yes. I didn't know whether it was
So-
a thing I could only use one if I opened the box, or but yeah. I'd like, if there's any vibes coming off it, then definitely, yeah.
Let me just double check the wording for your.
You don't have to. I thought that was the direction we're heading in.
Oh,
but,
it was definitely, yeah,
yeah.
it was definitely.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
It's page
Decent vibe check,
55.
for sure.
When making investigation tests, you may spend extra successes to learn if a Vaesen has been in the area, gain more or less vague impressions of what kind it is, find out if magic has been used. And has Jonny frozen? We seem to be having real internet gremlins this evening, unfortunately.
Is he frozen, or is he just reading something very intently?
He's very still.
Yeah, I mean,
So intense that he's not listening to any of us anymore.
He's a very
Yeah.
dedicated reader. Getting from this. So just to make it clear, like, you know, Mosling is not saying a kind of hand it here. It's a kind of, you know, if this is something that needs to be voluntarily handed over, then happy to have it voluntarily handed over for us to look at in our own time.
I
know,
see.
because-
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's because that's kind of the vibe I was getting. You know, it's like a kind of, she could hand it over, but she was concerned about what happens if it does. And Mosling's like,
Well,
like, you
that's
know,
cool.
that's
I
our job.
just
Like,
also want to make
this is-
sure you're not keen to take it because you have some sort of weird morbid curiosity, but I don't trust you.
I mean, Mosling, at some level, that must be the reason why Mosling wants to do it.
Very eager to offer up.
Hux is
But-
very
but-
happy
but-
for Mosling to offer himself up.
But
for
yeah,
this
but like, you know,
responsibility.
it like ultimately, you know, she's not going to have any luck getting rid of it. So it might as well be, you know, and if we've got it, we can interrogate
Yeah,
it and
I
test
I
it
think
and other
I
things.
bet agree. I'd be tempted to say that sort of thing. If we can't figure
Yeah.
out anything about it now, that would be a good choice rather than she leaves with it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that
If she wants to,
not
she
that
might not
your
want to.
characters would know
Awful
this.
choice, but it's great.
Not your characters would. Well, I know it's an awful choice, but that's why it's so great. Like, it's just.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I think we
Yeah,
could
yeah,
do.
totally got that.
I think we could do to determine if Johnny's able to. The Pixies have stolen Johnny essentially.
I think
If the places she's been sleepwalking to, it would be interesting to know where
Yeah, that's
and whether
true.
they have any significance.
and also like
Yeah,
it's
like if
easier
she's
to
worried.
go on.
As if she's worried that she's done something when she's been away. Like, why is she worried that something bad's happened? What does she think
you
she's
must have some
done?
evidence for that, right? You wouldn't just be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I woke up and I felt a bit fine." I guess if you like wake up somewhere else, though, you always think something weird. I don't know.
It would be a bit unsettling.
Yeah, I haven't slept.
I've sleepwalked before.
I haven't
I've not
slept since
thought
I
I'm
was like a
cursed.
teenager.
But have you woken up somewhere different?
Yeah.
Have you had a box
Really?
with
Okay.
a bug with a human face on it? So,
No, to be fair, I haven't had that.
That box is cool.
You start sleepwalking when you get the creepy box is a fairly good something bad
The
going
curse
on.
that I'm bound by means I can't talk about the creepy creature in the box.
My imaginings of the bug with a human face is just that bit in what we
the
do
Johnny.
in the shadows with the cat.
No.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
I know what
yeah,
you're talking about.
yeah.
Hey, Johnny.
My apologies. I enjoyed that John literally said, "My idea of the image of the bug with the human face," and then I appeared on screen. That was pretty good timing.
oh, if only we could do overlays.
Just me.
Okay, the box has no signs of damage, and I am happy that Henry remembers from last night. He sort of gets a feeling from the box and remembers from last night's research that he skimmed over something because a couple of things to do with this are similar to what you were looking at. You kind of had a quick look at something and realized that it wasn't related, and but now it's come back to you, and you think that this you think you can find the bit in the book that you were looking at, if you want to grab that and have a bit more of a look at it.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea. I'm currently holding the box. I guess I will either offer it to people or place it down on the table and just.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah. If you kind of offer it up, or maybe kind of point to the table and then kind of do just a quick check, as I've got my stuff, and I will try to throw some. Well, I will throw some holy water over it and try giving it a good old stab with my pointy crucifix dagger thing.
So you're opening the box and stabbing it. Is what you're saying?
Yep. Oh,
Right,
well, I
you
was
trying to
just
stab
try
through the
doing that
box?
on the box rather than opening it. And I don't want to be like chasing a bug that's running around. I want to try and just destroy.
So you're going to try and stab through the box with the crucifix.
Yep. Got it. Does it look stab through?
No, it cannot be closed.
I have the power of God behind me.
I'm just wondering.
I am powered by a religious.
I'm not
power.
saying this to stop Constance. This is just Magnus is looking at you.
Once this box is damaged and can no longer be closed, that's a good thing.
This is supernatural. This is not bound by the normal rules of physics. This will work without a shadow of a doubt.
Besides, when did they invent gaffer tape? Was that around the Victorian era?
Totally.
Oh, it was the old gaffer himself that invented gaffer tape.
Okay, so while the box is closed, you're throwing holy water on it and stabbing through it with the crucifix.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes, and I do have an ability called Holy Symbol, I think is the relevant one. Just double check the specific wording on that. It's a talent. I mean, so where's my Vaesen note? Sorry, I thought I had this open. So with Holy Symbol, I can. Sorry.
Okay, if you need a minute, I was gonna. You good?
Yeah. So it says a religious item allows you to use inspiration to attack Vaesen in close combat, dealing 1 damage. Is what the talent says.
Okay, what I will say is just make a force roll.
This is not a strength Constance. Holy water didn't soften it up at all.
It's going to end up scratching the table. This is going.
It was made of paper. It just
Oh.
disintegrates when the holy water hits it.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
so
that
good.
looks like a really papery box, if you ask me. Okay, right. That's actually 4 dice. It's not as bad as I thought.
4 dice and you
Wow.
use 0.
I
Four
got one
successes.
success. I rolled
Oh, that's-
3 1s and 1 6.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. So you splash some holy water on it. You don't hear or see anything change. And then you stab the crucifix down through the top of the box. The box is not cheaply made, but it's equally, made in probably 1830 or something. And it's not like a hard metal, so it goes through. Again, you hear nothing. Do you pull the crucifix back out of the box?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've got to see what the damage is. Yeah. I guess I'll leave it there for a second, maybe give it a little twist, and then, yeah, out it comes.
Okay. There is no residue on the the base of the
No squished bug.
doesn't seem to be.
Hux would like to keep a very close eye on the smushed box. Hux is now thinking it's totally going to dematerialize in front of our eyes any minute, so wants to watch very carefully for it to do so.
Henry's thinking it might burst
Yeah.
open and a bug will skitter across the room and someone just
That was very
tracks away.
exciting.
Well, if there's nothing on the crucifix itself, I might just use it to kind of, lift a little bit, like poke the bits of the box and just see if there is still bug there. I mean, maybe it's not there because it has been so thoroughly destroyed, it has completely vanished. Obviously. So
Likely.
yeah, just checking.
Yeah, if you are you lifting it sort of the whole way up the lid?
I mean, it by whatever means I can. I mean, it's a bit of wood being poked at with a crucifix. It's probably not the most finely kind of manipulable thing. So yeah, I mean, however you want to rule it, Jonny.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you sort of do the thing which you probably all done a couple of times, where you lift it up and it kind of flops shut again as you're trying to get enough sort of purchase on it, and then you end up having to just kind of give it a bit of a nudge, and it kind of drops open, and there's this thing just kind of scurrying around in there, and you see it look at you specifically at Constance, and then it does some weird manipulation movement where it kind of spreads itself over where the hinge is and kind of bends backwards, and it shuts the lid.
Well.
And it's a horribly uncomfortable sight because it doesn't look like it should bend that way.
Oh, wow.
We need a more powerful ritual. Well, we need a proper ritual. This was DIY ritual.
Steve, have you gone to grab the book?
Yes.
Okay. So you have found the entry that you were looking at, and it is in it's like a fairy tale book, but almost like a bestiary. So it names this creature as a Spertus, Spertus. And it is believed that the Spertus can go through 2 owners, and then once it gets to its third, the third is stuck with it, and it cannot be re-gifted. So you obviously know that this woman is at least the second.
That is useful information.
Yeah, once it is with the third, it seems like bad things tend to befall the owner, and this is actually one of the books that Mosling had pulled out. So there is actually a small, wouldn't have been a post-it note, would it? But kind of a small scrap of paper in there with a name on it and a question mark. And from where it's sort of stuck in this book, you wonder if the suggestion is that this person may be a third person who has survived to whatever ends.
Okay.
That's what you wonder based on,
Sure.
you know, it sort of says that the third person normally befalls some kind of terrible fate. And then there's this piece of paper stuck there with a question mark. So you wonder if that's what the suggestion is there.
Okay. Well, I would. Yes,
and I will give you a name momentarily.
Sure. Yes, I would
Is it
probably.
the name of the butler?
Is Henry sharing any of that out loud?
Yes,
Glad it's
yes.
here
I would. I
already.
would caution Mosling about being quite so eager to be the third person in this chain.
Well, if somebody else has survived this, maybe we have a lead then to investigate how to destroy this properly.
Well, we should certainly, yes, get in. This scrap of paper, does it look? Does it date from? Is it older than the people we know at the agency? Is it sort of? I was thinking of sending a telegram back to base and asking them whether they know anything about it. But I guess if this
it isn't dated, but equally it doesn't look and you know massively old. So it could quite feasibly be, you know, one of the two people that you know there, or maybe somebody just before them, or it's not like you think this person is from 200 years ago and is definitely dead, or you know, it's it could still be within reach, you think.
Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely want to, like, obviously if the name means something first off, that's great. If not, then sending a communication back to base and you know, in an appropriately sort of coded manner, asking about this particular thing and whether they're aware of it.
And the person.
Yes.
I suppose there's nothing in that book about how to deal with these things.
I'm guessing not.
No.
Does it mention any negative effects other than on the third person? Or?
So what I would say is that if you flick through a few other entries, if Henry flicks, so this one notably does not have anything about how to deal with it.
Great.
And it also mentions that it does seem to bestow some positive effects on its owners. You know, up until the point that it doesn't anymore.
Does it mention like the sleepwalking or the you know, the periods of time when that are lost going?
It does mention that it seems to be able to almost take control of its host, with sort of and especially one of the mentions of the third owner is that it, you know, the people who knew this person noticed a complete change of personality, and it's believed that actually it may have been this thing essentially controlling that person completely.
I have a great image of Henry having like flicked through the book to see that all of the other person mentioned have like, and this is how to deal with it. Flick back to the Spertus to find it doesn't have that.
Turning the page over.
Grim face looking at Gladys, just like.
Well, it seems to me that you're likely to be the second person in this chain then, Miss Pugh. If you've been worried about this and come to us, you don't appear to be under any sort of meaningful control. Perhaps it's not wise to pass it on to another person if we can deal with this before it comes to that. Mosley might not be so wise given what we've just
No, that seems
learned.
sensible.
The unfortunate side effect of that is you're probably going to have to stay, well, with us or somewhere nearby for at least a little while until we figure this out. If that's all right, Miss Pugh.
And if you don't mind being a little more forthcoming about who this person was that gave it to you, we might be able to understand where it came from, or if you are indeed the third person in the chain, it's a possibility we ought to rule out.
I can give you a name, but I haven't been able to track her down since I received this. But the name is Rachel Brown. Steve, the name in the book is Sister Violet Griffiths.
I will reveal that to the group.
I told you it would be the church that helped to resolve the situation. The sister was able to get rid of this thing. That's definitely the right lead. Rachel Brown. This is not a very uncommon name. Is there anything more identifying or specific you can give us? Where you met this person, where they lived, at least for a period of time, a brief description of them, anything. Were they from London? Were they from elsewhere? Anything you can tell us?
I think they were from London. I never knew where she lived. We met in central London a few times for food and walks, but I have no address. I have nothing. She was, I would say, slightly older than me, perhaps early 30s, brown hair, brown eyes, similar build to myself. I can't give you much more, I'm afraid.
Did she gift this to you and then immediately run off or disappear? Did it seem like that was the reason she was drawing your attention?
I believe that to be the case now, yes.
I see.
Hindsight, do you think it's likely that she had this item the entire time that you knew her?
I think it's quite possible, yes.
How long? Sorry, sister.
Well, do you think was there anything in particular that triggered or made it more likely that she gave it to you at that time, or do you think it was just that you became close enough that she perhaps thought you were likely to accept the offering, or was there something else that made it any other circumstance?
I think it may just be that she thought that we had reached a point where it would perhaps be appropriate for one to give a gift, and therefore I wouldn't think twice about receiving one.
Okay.
Rather cruel.
Yes, you see why I don't want to pass it on to anybody else.
Your sleepwalking events. Can you remember where those took you to? In this area, for
places,
instance?
I haven't actually had that happen while I've been here, Mr. Bonneville.
That's good to know.
I think that's a time frame issue rather than a location. If you see what I mean. But yes, I'm sorry, I'm taking your time up. I understand you are already trying to help somebody who is possibly in a worse situation than me. I am happy to lend a hand if I can, or stay out of the way.
Well, it would seem prudent, perhaps, for us to be able to keep an eye on you, make sure you remain safe if we can. If you're comfortable with that, of course.
Yes, I'm. I realise that my uneasy demeanor may not come across this way, but I'm quite adventurous at times.
I just wanted to check. What was it? The reason you actually came here was Lady Spence, yeah? Not anything about the village.
No, I was aware of Lady Spence's reputation and thought that perhaps she would be somebody who could help me.
Well, since we've got you, and you're, as you say, the adventurous sort, have you heard any other strange goings on while you've been around town? There's some other stuff we've been looking into, perhaps relating to an old guy at the pub disappearing. I'm sure you've heard about it. Or
I
other
have heard
strange
about that.
stories.
I'm afraid I've obviously brushed information off that isn't relevant to me to some degree, selfish as that may be. But yes, I have heard Dan, is it? I think. Yes, it does seem very strange. I've seen you around a couple of times, of course, in town, but yes, if I can be of help, then I would very much like to be.
I think my main concern was I was understanding if we'd heard about you and heard that you may have been following Lady Spence. It doesn't seem like that the events are connected, which was something we needed to understand. So I suppose at least we've gleaned some information there. Although of course there's a new mystery, which we can investigate. But we do still have the matter of Dan and these these pixies. And I will try and pick up the books that I had from last night. And yeah, I think the thing I wanted to do was see if there was any information about how to get rid of pixies. And I think I would quite like to.
Yeah, I think you had said
those.
that the plan for this morning was to do some more research based off what you'd found last night, and because you've got a sort of a more narrow funnel now for what you want to look at. So anybody who wants to spend some time doing that, please make a learning roll. If anybody isn't doing that, let me know what you want to do.
Seeing everyone else kind of head off for books, presumably, and do other things, I'll just nod to Henry. Presumably, Henry, you making that contact or call or whatever, or have you already done that to that?
Yes, I'll be. Yeah, I guess getting in touch. Yeah, sending a telegram or. Yeah. It was James, wasn't it?
Yes.
The butler.
Yeah.
In that case, I think I'll just go to Miss Pugh and just say to her, we'll have to wait and hear back from that. I suppose there's nothing else immediately we can do now, but you should be safe here with us at least. We'll keep an eye on you.
Thank you. Yes.
John, are you happy for me to use the my book collection for a learning roll of this roll as well? Then I get 3 successes.
Okay. Inga, did you say you got 1? Okay.
I got 1 as well.
Okay. John is
Vanishing Pixies 101. Hopefully.
Yeah. Or doing something else.
Trying to think. I'm not. You know what? I'll give it a try.
You've been learning your written words, right?
I've been refreshing them. I had to learn them a bit as a kid, but I don't really have much use to use them out in the forest.
If we find any good pictures in the books, I might show Hux.
I rolled 3 ones, so I don't think
Okay.
ones don't matter, but I like to think that means no idea.
Just tear a book in half.
Okay.
She instead is flipping through the book, trying to find bits that she can read.
None of you find a way to kill a pixie. from what you can see in numerous sort of accounts of them, again, sort of reasonably notably, there is no mention of actually killing them. Henry and Constance, between you find a few different ways of protecting against pixie tricks, which you think may be useful information.
Sounds good.
So these things include turning one's coat inside out. Constance is very happy to find that carrying a wicker cross made of willow or hazel is said to protect. Or whistling as you go is also believed to protect you from pixie tricks. Obviously, that also reveals your presence if you... Now, what Gale finds in an account of a previous society interaction with pixies is that it was learned that if you can steal something from a pixie, you can trade it back to them for a magical favor.
Wow.
Excellent.
And you also, you find another couple of sort of accounts of people being led astray and tricks being played and things like that, that seem to be reasonably lighthearted in nature. But again, a couple of them end in sort of people being injured or, showing up sort of 4 days after they've gone missing, incredibly dehydrated and, not otherwise harmed, but it seems like maybe the pixies are playing tricks on them and don't realize that actually they need things to survive.
How long ago
so they're not harming them, but they're almost by neglect are harming them. Dan was about a week ago.
Hux, do you know any confidence tricks?
I'm kind of surprised by that cat out of the blue and go, yeah, I suppose.
Do you know the cup and balls game?
Yeah, I could do that one.
This
Better with
one's
cards.
I kind of like flap the book. This one seems to say that if you can steal something from a pixie, then you can trade it for a magical favor. Which, perhaps we should try to engage these pixies and hustle them. And if I was trying to hustle someone, I wouldn't want anyone other than you, Hugs.
Thanks.
One other thing that you found actually is a reference to as one of the sort of tricks that they've pulled is a greedy person is given an expensive bracelet, and then when they go to sell it, it turns into rat dung in their hands.
Cool.
I don't think it would be wise at all to start messing around with magical tricks, Mosling. That's extremely dangerous talk.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I don't really fancy trying to trick them. Chances are it'll go wrong for me. But it sounds like from what you're all reading that they might be behind some tricks and some messing up people and maybe some injuries or whatever, but they're not behind Dan's disappearance, are they? They don't kill people.
Possibly that medallion as well.
Yeah, medallion, yeah. But
all
of these things are...
Dan may not be dead. Dan may just be lost somewhere on a pixie trick.
But he's probably not due to them. No one goes missing for weeks. You haven't read that, have you?
But Dan's been missing a week, right?
Yeah, weeks.
It's been a little long now.
Maybe that the only ones we've got in the book are the ones who came back.
That's true, but my point being, it doesn't seem like they're necessarily the most nefarious things here. Not sure that's
Jonny,
what we should get rid of is.
In terms of the things that we heard about protecting, like the way you describe them, they all sound like quite individual things, like they're things on one's person, like things like the cross. It's a thing you have to carry yourself. It's not like a thing you can have in your home. Is that right?
Yeah, it seems because it's affecting you. You imagine maybe you could sort of guess that if you had them in your home, they wouldn't come in your home. But if you're out and about, having it in your home isn't going to help you when you're out and about, for example.
Yeah.
Well, I think that these pixies are the best chance we've got in terms of where Dan is. And maybe if we can find some way to talk to them, engage them, maybe even steal something from them, then maybe we can either trade it back for Dan or, with a knowing look at the box, some other kind of favour.
And the knowing look makes me nod.
Makes me scowl.
I feel like we're missing something, though. What about the dog?
Yeah, and what about that red material or whatever it was where Dan went missing? That probably wasn't pixies, was it?
Who knows?
There were
We'll
no
have to
other
find out.
descriptions of pixies in the books, were there? Because
I was going to say that you, in the societies one, there is actually on sort of the next page over from the main entry, there is a drawing, and they do have sort of red, sort of crowny hats on.
Was that a
which
moment
look
where
to
I
be-
went, and those red rags don't fit, and then Gail turns the page
Just
over.
go, look at it, Hugs! Look at that!
Well, the dog, I'm still convinced could just be a dog, or
Indeed.
just a shadow or something. I'm not sure that that's really another whole mystery to solve. I think
I
it's
asked-
much more likely these pixies have damaged the carts or something, and people are looking for dogs or shadows or whatever. But the pixies seem to explain things.
I asked Gladys Pugh that she didn't come into town on a wagon that was carting beer, did she?
No.
No, right, fair enough. They had a turn of good luck, and I thought it might be you that caused it.
Oh, are you, the black dog? Is that? Yes, I've heard a couple of things about that.
You don't have a black dog.
No.
Oh.
I'd say I wish I did, but I'm concerned that then one would arrive and I would have this thing to thank for it. So, no.
Very wise. I think most of the dog spottings were from about a year or so ago. It seemed to slightly, which is perhaps a little strange actually, if it is the pixies, if they were active about a year ago and then not again until quite recently. But maybe it's somewhat seasonal. I don't know.
So, if we think it is these pixies, then is that the sort of thing they do? Make someone go missing for a whole week? Didn't sound like that's what you were reading about.
Seemingly so, yes. A week seems a little long from the descriptions, but as you say, B, maybe we just hear about the ones where people do come back to tell the tale.
Yeah.
It would
Which
seem
is a little concerning for poor Dan.
It would seem odd that we've seen the glowing lights away from town. For them to be so near the pub seems unusual.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, they go after greedy people. Maybe they also go after drunks or other people with character flaws.
Do you think Dan had tried to steal something from? Oh, I'm
No, well,
just-
if they this greedy person's trick thing, if that is also Lucy Jenkins, then perhaps that is a second case of them messing around with people in the village, not just outside of the town. But we thought it wasn't very likely before because we hadn't heard about tricks and mysterious mischief sort of happening about the town. But actually, perhaps there has been. There's been Dan and now also potentially Lucy's medallion. Did she say Hux how long she'd had it for or when it disappeared?
Nah, she just asked about it. Didn't sound like it was long ago from where she was talking, but that was it.
Well, maybe the wagon could also be pixie mischief. Maybe they're afraid of dogs. That dog scared it away or something.
I must admit,
If the black dog is appearing when there's bad luck that's happening, and then the bad luck doesn't happen, then maybe a dog is also a ward against pixies.
Maybe. It seems to me that something's made them come to town. You don't hear of pixies doing this sort of thing. It doesn't sound like that's, that they live up there on the moor. Why would they come into town like that? There must be a reason. Just for these specific occurrences. Maybe someone had I could see why someone might have a grudge against Lucy Jenkins. Could be a good reason to get the pixies on her. Maybe someone did against Dan too for some reason.
It sounds like they're really little agents of chaos in and of themselves, rather than something directed like that Red Cap business. Maybe there have been a few other little pranks and things, but people haven't thought them significant enough to note or particularly talk about. Something goes missing here or there. Who doesn't lose things on occasion? Maybe it's got stolen by some pixies, or I thought it was pretty banal. Hearing about a cart with a broken wheel, it's a very everyday occurrence. There may well have been other things in about town.
Maybe.
Maybe,
I'd still like to see if we can find out more before we go straight up to that moor and try bargaining with them. We could have a chat with Lucy Jenkins, see if she can tell us more about that medallion.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. B, I suppose you would recognise if there was any willow or sorry, what was it? It was willow or was it holly? Hazel. You'd recognise if any of these trees about here were in the gardens were willow or hazel, right? Are there any? Perhaps we should make up some little wicker crosses as well.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, there's some in the grounds that you've seen, so you could easily make some before you even head out.
Right.
So if you can point me in the direction of those, I'd quite like to make some wicker crucifix for us all.
I'll help you with that.
Gladys, this good fortune you talk about, how does it manifest? Might you, for instance, if you were looking for something, might it make it more likely for you to find the thing you're searching for? Have you tried?
Yes, as I said, I seem to arrive in town just shortly after the Lady Spence every time. So it does seem to.
Perhaps if you were to start looking for this medallion that Lucy Jenkins is missing, perhaps.
Well, presumably,
just an experiment.
Presumably, all we're going to find is dung, but that would be interesting.
This is very dangerous. I'm not sure we should be encouraging the use of whatever magics this is offering. This feels very dangerous. That one shouldn't bargain with these things. This is deeply uncomfortable.
I understand your concerns, but it does seem as if we're stuck in the middle between two potential sources of magic, and perhaps if we're able to use one to counteract the other, it might be in our favour. But yes, I recognise that we know little about these circumstances, and there is certainly some degree of risk.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
I suppose
that is how I feel about it.
I suppose ultimately that's up to Gladys.
As I said, I am happy to help however I can. Equally, I don't want to be in the way, and I don't want to do anything that people are not comfortable with.
Would you feel more comfortable coming out with us on our other investigations, or staying here in the house? Maybe some folk will stay, I don't know.
I would say if everybody is going out, then perhaps I should come too. It's been quite unsettling being essentially on my own with this thing.
Is the box still exactly as it was left, by the way, Jonny? I'm wondering if the box is different from having been smashed in, or anything has happened to it.
Have you been looking at it?
Yeah,
constantly?
I was going to say while these were doing their book reading, I was basically just staring at Gladys and all the box.
Yeah, if there hasn't been a point where people have looked away from the box, it still sort of looks damaged.
Okay.
But it's still a functioning box. So it's.
I suspect because after a while of staring at it and nothing changing, I will have got curious. I will have found a moment when no one else is looking at it and specifically looked away for 5 seconds and then looked back and experimented with that sort of thing too.
Then it's back to being
cool.
normal. Yeah.
Well, at some point, I will also relay. Yeah, check out the box as well. It's it did it when I looked away for a few seconds.
Fascinating. It seems almost. I was concerned at first that it was a prison for the thing inside, but now it seems more like a house. At least we don't have to fear about it opening the box and scuttling away unnoticed.
Yeah. I don't think any amount of destroying that box, even with religious items, will do it. Perhaps there's something we could do with like holy water, as you say, or some ritual.
There might be something. What I've seen before certainly required proper ritual rather than just stab with a crucifix. To be flippant about it, but proper ritual is a separate and much more powerful thing. But obviously, I don't know what that might be, and I'm not practiced enough to create one of my own. I don't think. But yes, it is quite disturbing how that's reconstituted itself.
I don't suppose, Miss Pugh, that you've tried talking to it. I mean, it's a bug, but it's got a human face.
Yes, I have.
No luck.
Quite unnerving, I'm afraid.
So it did work then. What did it say?
It answered some questions that I asked it, and then I slammed the lid shut and never spoke to it again because I'm sure you'd do the same. It's incredibly.
I can't say I blame you, but
Oh, I think Magnus might go up and open it and try and talk to the thing. Oh. Yeah, I think Magnus will slowly get up and go over to the box and just open it up. Given it hasn't attacked anyone yet, it seems to want to stay in its box.
maybe it knows how to get rid of itself.
Well, that was what I was going to ask. I was going to set the box down gently and open it slowly, like I'm not being aggressive, hoping that maybe he'll talk to me if I'm being fairly polite. Slightly side-eyeing Constance. And then just, look down at the creepy, weird bug face thing and just say, how do we get rid of you?
I love it, to the point.
Straight to the point. Wow.
Not even introducing yourself, just like, or you move on.
Were you expecting me to introduce the whole group?
It scurries around a little, and then, maybe scuttles is a better word, and then kind of goes up almost on its hinds and looks at Hux, and says, "Get her to give me to you, and I'll tell you."
No, I'm good. Look, we know what you are. We know we're not going to be gifting you to anyone. That's not a good idea.
Also, it's worth noting nobody else heard anything.
I was going to say, did anybody else hear?
I won't know that.
So, Hux is continuing a conversation as if he's talking to something, but none of you have heard anything.
Yeah, so I'll say, we know what you are. We know gifting you. I'm guessing a third time is a bad idea. We're trying to find out how to stop you being with her. If we do that, does it, kill you? Do you try again with someone else? What happens?
She can only get rid of me if she gives me to someone else.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you don't want to tell me. Well, whatever. If you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. We'll figure it out one way or another. And I'll make to close the lid unless it wants to say anything else.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't respond to you again.
Cool. I'll close the lid. Unsurprisingly, it wasn't very helpful.
I didn't hear it say anything.
Well, it was quite loud, that I thought.
We heard nothing.
I see.
Can't say I'm surprised that it didn't tell you how it could be destroyed.
Yeah, well,
And I
Just
wouldn't have trusted anything it had to say in any case.
just wants to be given to someone else. It's worth a try, though. Definitely talks, or at least sounds like it to me, anyway.
It's a little interesting that it does speak to somebody other than the current holder of it. Gladys, did you hear the other half of that conversation?
Yes, I didn't realize that you all didn't.
Interesting. Did it speak so unfriendly like to you, Gladys?
Oh, yes.
I see.
I'm unsure if it could be friendly with anything but the devil, Mr. Huxley.
I wonder if it could be friendly with fairies.
I'm going to go out to find a willow tree.
Yes, I will join you.
Yeah, I think if there's nothing else to do, I might head for lunch in the pub, because I was thinking of having a chat with what's her name, Lucy Jenkins. But I'm happy to wait for others.
No, going to town seems like a good idea. We just had breakfast, so time for lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait! You must wait until there are some crosses for you to take with you, or at least turn your coats inside out.
All right.
No, you'll
well,
be
look,
absolutely foolish if you do that.
Hux has got a
no,
big-
wait, just
big-
wait for the crosses.
We'll wait for you. We'll all go together. It's fine. We want to keep an eye on this one anyway. Gladys.
Plus, I think Hux is a good whistler.
I'm gonna roll the dice, see if Hux can whistle. Yeah, it's fine.
I
pretty
think
good
I will
whistle.
also come with you. I feel that Gladys is somewhat under my protection now, since she did come here looking for me to help her. It seems I should accompany you all.
Presumably, Lady Spencer's been for this whole conversation. She hasn't offered anything, but
Yeah.
what's her general demeanor been to the weird Facebook thing, which presumably she's at least had a quick glance at?
Great interest.
She's doing well on spotting weird things recently. Pixies last night. Weird human-faced bugs today.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got a question to ask Gladys as well. While we're kind of wondering about at some point, I'll just ask Gladys. Do you know if other folks can see this box, regular folks, if you just put it down in a pub or something? Or does it seem like they can't?
I'm really unsure. I certainly didn't leave it lying around, as I'm sure you can imagine. Why do you think?
If we're still at Lady Spencer's house, is it James, the name of her? Yeah.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Can I get like a small coin, put it on my hand, and then put the box in front of it, so it's between James and the coin, and then ask James what I'm holding. So if he couldn't see, so he could either see the box or the coin.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Testing magic physics. How
Yeah, why
how
not?
does this kind of invisibility work?
I mean,
yeah, gotcha.
Nice.
Modeling is still like,
Gotta
it's
do
fine to
practical
accept the
things.
box. But testing magic physics, I'm like, that's dangerous. Don't do that. Hux.
A boxer?
Well done, James. You're right.
But
Thank-
the cold
thank you.
spread, no cold spread last night.
I'll
so
just
that was-
I'll wander off without any more explanation because I can't be asked.
I think James James has witnessed things before. This is not surprising to us.
Oh damn!
That's true.
Well, it's coming to the
Actually,
pub with
yes,
us
that's
anyway.
true.
This is why we are connected here at all.
God, everyone in
But
this
perhaps we
damn
can
house
test
has
that
this
in the pub.
Okay, you managed to make some willow crucifixes, sort of wicker willow crucifixes. I'll just say that you've made a bunch because I presume that you will want to have some on hand for whoever may appear in the situation. I imagine that you would plan ahead and make a couple of extra. And
Constance's pockets are going to be so full with holy water and willow crucifixes, and who else knows what else is going to be in there by the end of this.
Your pockets that are of course now on the inside because you're wearing your jacket inside out.
I mean, I would, but that is just far too unrespectable. Like that's just not an option, really.
We have to have custom jackets made, clearly.
Oh, it's the
They're
inside
out to
like,
begin
watching
with.
outside.
My jacket's reversible. I don't
Yeah,
know.
what do pixies do with reversible jackets? Are you permanently? I'm just confused.
Well, I mean,
Can a
even with
reversible
reversible
jacket be
jackets, there's
inside
always
out?
like even with reversible jackets, there's always like a preferred side. Like there's the side that's supposed to be worn right way out, and then there's the other side that you could wear out.
As long as
And
the
that's the wrong
tag is
side.
on the outside, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. If you can see the washing label, you're golden.
Okay, so you head down the main road. Are you carriaging? Are you getting James to carriage you, or are you walking?
I could
I
go
can
for a
take
walk.
carriage.
We'll fit in the carriage. There
Also,
are
Also,
about
can always
7
have a
of us.
walk.
Fine.
That's true. You could
8. I
split.
forgot about Adam.
I'll
I
walk.
quite fancy a walk. If
Yeah, I was going to walk.
Yeah.
Okay, if
How
everybody's
big is the
happy to
carriage?
walk,
Do we all
then
fit anyway? That's a lot of
no, this is
people,
what I
right?
said. You would have to split. But
we
if
would
everybody
have
else
to,
is
right.
happy to walk, then Lady Spence and Gladys will also walk with you. Does anybody want any specific discussions on your way into town with either of them, or have you got everything out of the way in that initial convo? Okay. So you arrive at the pub. I'll say by the time you've had all those discussions and everything and got into town, you probably are actually nearing lunchtime. So yeah, just before 12, you rock up at the pub.
Can I? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to just before we pop into the pub, just slip one of the crosses in the little gap where we found the red cloth. Just try undo any pixie nonsense if there is any lingering.
Yeah.
Who has the red hat / fabric thing? Did we keep it?
Oh, we kept it. I know I had it for a while. Unless anybody's taken it off me.
No, I think you've still got it.
Maybe if it does belong to them, we could still trade that back. We didn't steal it, but it could be theirs.
Potentially, I guess.
Might be worth holding on to as an ace in the hole.
Sure. I mean, perhaps somebody could convince them that... I don't know how this works. But yes, it's worth considering.
Okay.
Constance will look disapproving any of that, but charge back on into the pub then and ignore this talk of dealing with pixies.
Yeah, Rob, the barman, is there, and there are a couple of other people scattered about on tables. Lucy Jenkins is also in there. She is on her own at the moment and has her back facing the door, whereas previously, other times that you've seen her when she's dealing with people, she would be facing the door. So she would be able to see who was coming in, but currently she's facing away.
Is she doing anything?
Yeah, she's eating
Okay.
and drinking.
I will give Gladys a bit of a nudge and point Lucy out.
I see.
Ring any bells?
Yes, I've spotted her keeping an eye on me.
But you don't remember talking to her?
No. She seems like somebody who keeps an eye on everything.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Jonny, have we seen since that first night, which I guess was only like 2 nights ago, but have we seen Hux's friend, whose name I can't remember now off the top of my head, but the person who did actually first tell us about Gladys? Have we seen her again anywhere?
Angie?
Margaret.
Damn it.
Margaret. I think you saw her in the pub the next day, maybe.
Yeah, we did. In the next evening, I think she was there again.
Yeah,
But she's not there now.
she's not there now.
Okay.
Did we ever ask Lucy about what happened with Dan? I can't remember whether we actually...
Yeah, I did mention it to her.
Okay.
She was just like, oh, a sad thing. And she didn't really offer anything else.
She did know who you were, didn't she? I suppose Gladys is the only one who she knew without prompting. She also knew you, Hux.
Yeah, she did. Strikes me as someone who makes a point to find people's names out. There's always a way somewhere, you know, local ledgers or some carriage driver from somewhere is taking your name or something. She'll listen to lots of people. I bet you gave your name at some point, Miss Pugh, without thinking about it, and it, you know, it made her way to her.
She certainly likes to put people on the back foot. Never managed it with me.
Well, good for you. I'll kind of indicate that I'm happy to go have a chat with her about the medallion, but after lunch.
Yeah, are you ordering food and drinks? Yeah. Morning. Oh, good lunchtime, I suppose. The usual drinks. Lady Spence. She's Gladys Pugh. Oh, nice to meet you, Miss Pugh. Right. Yes. And he starts making food and drinks. Yes, Sam?
For when he comes back, can I have suggested Gladys leave her box somewhere prominent on the table to the effect that he would, you know, just glance at it when putting drinks down at the very least.
Yeah, she looks uncomfortable about doing so, but does.
Okay, cool. That's fine with me. I'm watching his face when he shows back up at the table.
I would
Determined
like
to
to
have this
watch
experiment.
Lucy Jenkins when this happens as well. Just keep an eye on that.
Are you going to sit purposefully in her view? Because she's sort of in the middle of the room facing away from the door, so you would have to go past her to sit over that way, if you see what I mean.
No, sit wherever the others are, but I would want to sit just so I can keep an eye on her in case she turns around or something, you know,
Okay.
rather than deliberately moving to her current line of sight. Just wherever we've sat, I'll keep an eye on her in case she looks over.
Yeah. Robert comes over with food and drink. Doesn't make any take any noticeable notice of the box on the table. It is sort of like snuff box size, so it's not like it's a chest, you know. It is something that you could just go like, and it's not sort of
not something that you would surprised to see just sitting on a table.
Yeah. This is This is one of those things that Magnus makes a mental note is annoying that you could never get a clear answer on.
After a few minutes, presumably you're just tucking in, Inga, Constance spots Lucy Jenkins move around to the other side of the table, and a guy who has been sitting having a drink moves to sit opposite her, and her little book comes out onto the table.
She doesn't seem to pay us any particular notice, though, and we don't recognise the guy.
No, you've maybe seen him in the town, but he's not like just a guy from the town.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll have a meal and wait for Lucy to be free. I had
Okay.
kind of expected exactly that to happen, where she turn around to the other side of the table. So,
so that guy, and then another guy comes, and he goes, and then she kind of catches your eye, Hooks, and kind of gestures over.
Yeah, I will stand up to move over. Pause for a second while looking at Gladys, and then shake my head and walk over by myself, unless anyone else wants to join me.
You're on your own, mate.
I will go.
Cool.
Okay.
She didn't speak with you before, did she?
No.
Okay. In that case, I'll wander over and
Some
probably just
protection.
sit down and then nod over to B next to me and go, "Oh, this is my friend B."
Good afternoon, Mr. Huxley and Ms.
B will do.
You see it. She turns to the back of her book, and you see her write something. You can't see what it is. It's kind of on the page that's turned back from you, and then closes it and says, "Please. What can I do for you?"
Well, we thinking I might be able to do something for you. Actually, I've got might have a bit more of a lead on your medallion. I think someone might have stolen it.
I'm afraid you've given your hand away, Mr. Huxley. Oh dear, I'm terribly disappointed. Well, never mind. Good day. And she closes her book and puts it back in her pocket.
Wow.
Is she getting up to leave, or is she just sitting there?
She's sitting there, but she's sort of waiting for you to go, you presume.
Okay. I think I'll sit there
No.
for a second and have a think, brother, before I leave. Genuinely have a think as a player. Unless she forces me to leave. Go on.
She's sitting very patiently. And it's not like she's not sort of even nudging you away with her eyes. I think that she thinks she's made it very clear that she's done now and you should leave, and she's making no other action about
Yeah,
that.
that's fine. Huck's entirely
Yeah.
got that implication, but doesn't feel in a hurry to leave either.
Now, hang on. We just sat down.
Yes.
And you wanted to leave.
I was rather foolishly hoping that Mr. Huxley had some information for me, and he has just made it abundantly clear that he does not. So unless you want something from me, there is nothing more for us to do here.
Yeah, we do. We want more information about your medallion, with the hopes that we can help you find it.
Oh no, my medallion is neither my medallion nor missing. Which is why you have given your hand away.
I turned to
No.
look at Hux.
Now I'm looking intrigued. Very interesting.
So we've given our hand away by trying to help you find something you don't need help finding.
Quite right, yes. Mr. Huxley here led me to believe that he had information, as if he knew what I was talking about. He obviously does not. Therefore, there is nothing more to say.
She's
What
right.
were you talking
It'd be
about?
worth a try, though, wouldn't it? I will genially start to stand up to leave, unless she seems to indicate anything else.
She's not indicating anything to Hux, no.
Okay. I don't think she's going to give us anything more, B, but you're welcome to stay if you want.
B leans back in her chair and folds her arms.
Okay,
I'll turn around and shrug and go,
John, can you give me... I'm going to say probably a manipulation roll.
oh, I should have
Sure.
done this. I've got such good manipulation as well. Can I aid?
I don't think you can. I
No.
think unfortunately the role play has removed you from this
That's
as an
perfectly
assist.
fair. That's fair. To be fair, she did actually catch me out, unless there's something stranger going on, which I'm kind of curious about. So that makes sense.
I rolled 1-6, but it fell on the floor.
That's fine. A floor success counts. A floor fail doesn't.
Very good.
She leans forward. Tell me your name.
Why?
Information for information.
All right. Beatrice Hale. I think Beatrice Mary Hale.
Good.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Now you have to understand, Miss Hale. I despise being made a fool of. And someone or something... She is saying this sort of very aggressively, but very quietly, so nobody else will be able to hear. Someone or something has made a fucking fool of me.
Go on.
I came across a medallion and I went to sell it. I went about my usual bartering process while describing the medallion, perhaps as slightly grander than it truly was. Only to pull a rotting rat carcass from the handkerchief. Now I want to know who or what did this so I can deal with them. Anyway, if there's nothing more,
Have you heard anything else about Dan's disappearance?
I'm afraid not. Although I did come across that medallion outside the pub shortly after he had gone missing. I think we'll leave it there.
Oh, she said, "Oh, what?" Didn't she? Oh.
I love Lucy Jenkins.
Oh, she's great. I love her.
She is deliciously awful.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'll do promo stuff. Oh, if there are any questions or comments, please put them in the chat and we can discuss them. Simbaroom on Wednesday. Sunday, the 19th of Feb is Sam's Call of Cthulhu game, about 3 p.m. BST. No, whatever the other one is. GMT?
GMT.
Yes, because they're different time. If you ever needed proof that time is a construct, there it is. We just make it up. It changes. Doesn't matter.
Just hang around our Twitch all day, 24 hours on the
Yeah.
19th, and you'll at some point we'll be there.
So yes, so Wednesday Simbaroom, Sunday the 19th, 3 p.m. GMT, Call of Cthulhu. I believe, will be back next Monday. Please join us on our Discord. It's loads of fun. There's a reading material recommendation channel which has just sprung up, which is good. There are lots of nice people on there. And also our social media. And if you want to support us, you can do so on our Patreon. Links to all of those are below the stream. I think that's promo. I think that's everything. Yeah, that was fun. Thanks, everyone.
That was fun. I'm really
XP
enjoying
as well as promo.
Oh, yes.
Reminder.
Let's do XP.
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, and actually, I know that you're going to get 3 because you've done more identifying.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So let's do the questions for completeness sake. Did you participate in the session? Yes. Did you confront any Vaesen? Oh, actually, maybe
I think we did, yeah.
I think I'll give you a yes for that as well.
Very confrontational, wasn't it?
And you identified
Stabbed it
one.
with a
So that's another one.
crucifix.
Yeah.
So yes, and that's true, actually.
Confronting something more.
Have you learned anything? Yes. Were you affected by your dark secret? Nobody was. Did you take risks to protect other people? I probably
really.
wouldn't say that what you did was risky, and you didn't perform extraordinary actions, but it's still 4. That's
Nice.
a good session.
Very good. Oh,
Nice.
That was an interesting session. Yeah, I can't believe you're throwing more Vaesen in the works, Jonny. I was just like, this is oh, there's another one. Oh, what is this? Ah.
I'm
That's
trying to create.
creepy.
I'm trying to create a full and rich world.
Oh, it wasn't.
Mm.
Oh, you're right. Oh, man.
Doing a good job.
Bug face. Oh, no.
How do more people not have the site? They're bloody everywhere.
A house full of them. Oh. Also, I love that Lucy Jenkins totally outsmarted Hux. It actually makes perfect character sense because Hux is like a really streetwise person, but he's not a clever person. Like, he would absolutely not be able to deal with someone like Lucy, even though everyone else thinks he would.
So I've been looking forward to when you spoke to her again and tried to talk about the medallion because I knew something like this would happen. But the fact that B was also there at the table and pressed on with the inquiry after Hux had been caught out was great. That was lovely.
I loved that, yeah. And then succeeded as well, because I was like, even if I tried to do anything, it would be like, no, shut down. Perfect.
Oh, I went back quickly and had a look at my notes from the other session when you last spoke to her, and it did just say she's after info on her medallion. I didn't write down somewhere that was missing, so I guess we all just sort of assumed that. Very, very well done, Jonny. Very clever.
Yep.
That was good. Cool. Okay. We've had some follows.
Yeah, thank you for the follows from Mirrorskin, Vipers Huxley, Zensomancer, and Uberjaeger67.
Thank you.
Clearly people are naming themselves after me. My character's already that significant.
Yes, of course. We also have from the comments from 4242. It's a luck Ponzi scheme. First couple of owners get the luck stolen from the last.
Yep. Seems quite possible.
We had alternate name for Steve's Sixth Sense, just the Vaesen vibe check.
Vibe check. Yeah, that's good.
Just gonna roll a little VVC there, eh?
I also liked this one from Inga. I've never known anybody who deserved a rotting rat carcass more than Lucy Jenkins.
It's so true.
That brought me great joy hearing that.
Another thing that I'm really enjoying is that nobody really knows anything that she's done or does.
No.
Like,
Yeah, it's just like implications and all these people who are just potentially maybe swindled and have their money taken from them in the book, but we don't know.
Yeah, it's fun. I also liked that something that was suggested backstage was also suggested in the comments by, I think, 4242.
Where is it? That.
Yeah,
just give the bug to Lucy Jenkins.
It's actually a great idea. You'd think she'd take that. Well, she probably wouldn't take the gift, given she just had that happen to the medallion, though, potentially.
Yes, she may be a little bit more cautious about things that she.
Yeah, that did go badly for you when you tried to do that thing. Anyway, do you want a present?
Don't open it. Don't open it. Don't ask what's in it.
We'll
just
be
take the
leaving now.
box.
Like, we can't get you
Maybe
your medallion
try and
back,
sell
but
it.
next best thing, there's a very special box. It's the best we can do. Here you go, a gift unto you.
You could have your medallion back, or you could have the mystery box.
That's so true.
It could be a medallion. It could be anything.
Could be a rat carcass.
Could be a rat carcass.
Can you imagine how bad we would be as Vaesen investigators? Instead of getting rid of this thing, we just put it on someone we didn't like.
We just cursed the town.
Oh god.
Mosley might still take the box. Like, I haven't ruled it out yet. You know, like.
I did also think, I know it ends up, doing horrible things, presumably if you're the third owner, but for that little burst of good luck, I don't think that's a good thing to give someone like Lucy Jenkins.
But that's true. That's true. Yeah, she'd be pretty pissed off in the meantime if she was even in control of herself anymore.
Yeah.
Too much unknown.
Only one way to find out, guys.
Indeed.
I really think we should try and gift it to a fairy somehow. That would be an amazing plot line, if it would be possible. Oh.
Yeah,
let's
anger like vaguely immortal fey creatures. That never goes wrong.
They might get along.
Never
Who knows?
goes wrong.
They might really like the bug.
But have a new pet.
Yeah, exactly.
What happens if the Spurtus thing takes control of a pixie? Do they then have the abilities of the pixie and whatever powers they possess? Are they like double Vaesen somehow then?
There's only one way to
Can
find
they
out.
possess another one?
Make Jonny. Johnny's going to figure it out.
Or we need to find another one of these so that we can give one to Lucy and one to a pixie.
What we need to do is find the person who's number one in the Spurtus chain so that we can take it off them. And then we can be number two, and then we can.
Oh, what happens if you create a loop? Forget all the investigation. We just need to set up a magic science bureau. That's what.
I mean, that's what I'm doing. With the,
I mean, I completely agree.
Like,
Johnny's run off. That's it.
Someone knocks on the door to try and find out what we're doing, and we're just like, no, we're busy. We're experimenting. Go away. We're not helping you with that.
I mean, it seems like a sensible thing to do.
Oh, amazing. I love it.
Cool. All right. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next Monday, but also tune in for Simba Room on Wednesday. And then also a week on Sunday, come back and watch us do Call of Cthulhu underwater. I go to space in Call of Cthulhu and Sam goes under the sea.
Well, who knows where else we might end up.
Secrets. Cool. Yeah, thanks, gang. Catch you next week. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and thanks you guys for playing also.